Hello P6, let's think about Tuesday's maths. We're getting underway today with our warm-up activity, which today is speed tables. And so go and download your speed tables worksheet. And once you've downloaded it, why don't you set a stopwatch on your phone or on your tablet and see just how quickly you can complete the speed tables page. Remember, you don't have to begin with the top line. You can begin anywhere you want. Of course, some tables are easier than others. The ones, the twos, fours, fives, tens, the threes, they're probably your easier tables. And then maybe do the harder ones afterwards. You might work going across, you might work going down. It's up to you. But how quickly can you complete this speed tables grid? If you find your tables a little bit harder, then do what you can and then download the multiplication tables fact sheet from the website and use it to help you if there are some questions on which you really get stuck. But P6, please keep revising those tables at home. They're so important. Now, our main activity today, we're going to think again about decimals and we're going to think again about hundredths. Yesterday we were practicing multiplying. Today we're going to think about dividing with hundredths. Now, let's have a look at these few questions. We've already practiced dividing with decimals when we had one number after the decimal point. If you remember, we have been looking, when we thought about decimals, we've thought about our units, decimal point, then the tenths, and then the hundredths. And about 2 weeks ago, we practiced dividing where we had one number after the decimal point, the tenths. Today, we're going to start thinking about dividing when there are 2 digits after the decimal point, hundredths. So if I was given a question that said 7.16 divided by 4, it's not as easy to do it working it out horizontally like this. What I need to do is turn it into a short division question. So as we know, the number that we're dividing by goes on the outside of the question. And then on the inside of the question, I put the number I am dividing. So I've got my 7.16. I'm going to divide 7.16 by 4. Now, before I begin, as we talked about the last time we did dividing, it's really important to put that decimal point in. Make sure it's nice and heavy, we can see it. Don't make it too big, but make sure we can see it. And then we just divide as we always would. So 7 divided by 4. How many 4s go into 7? Well, 4 times 1 is 4. If I have to count on up to 7, 1 remainder, it's going to be 3. 31 divided by 4. Think about your 4 times table. What's the closest fact I can get to 31 divided by 4? It's going to be 28 divided by 4, isn't it? 28 divided by 4 is 7. So I've got remainder 3. 36 divided by 4, 9. And you'll see that I don't have a remainder at the end. And that's one of the key things today, P6, that we are going to do dividing questions, but we're not going to have any remainders at the very end. So 7.16 divided by 4, that's going to give me the answer 1.79. What about in this one? 14.75 divided by 5. So again, I'm going to turn it into a short division question. So I'm dividing by 5, that goes on the outside. 14.75, so put my 14.75 in. Decimal point in for the answer. So 1 divided by 5, can't make any full groups. 14 divided by 5. 2 5s are 10. So remainder 4. Remember, keep the carried number in a dividing question up high. 47 divided by 5. Well, 9 5s are 45. So remainder 2. 25 divided by 5. It's going to be 5. So 14.75 divided by 5 will give me the answer 2.95. Let's take a look at this one. 34 divided by 8. Okay, no decimal here, it's just a whole number, 3 tens and 4 units. So if I was dividing by 8 and I had my 34, well, 3 divided by 8, no, can't do anything. 34 divided by 8, well, 4 8s are 32, remainder 2, but as we've already said, today I don't want to have any remainders at the end. So I wonder, is there something else that we can do? Is there another way that we can write down this 34 so that we could finish the question. So same question, I'm still dividing by 8. I'm still dividing 34 by 8, but can you think of another way I could write down that 34? Well, I'll give you a clue. If you thought of that £34 as being money, is there another way I could write that down? Yep. £34 can also look like that, can't it? So what I can do is I can put my 34. I know it's not going to work because I've already tried it and I've got a remainder at the end. So let's put a decimal point and 10 after it and see if we can finish it there. So 3 divided by 8, can't do, remainder 3. 34 divided by 8, well I know, oh decimal point, I know that's going to be 4, remainder 2. Can I finish it off? 20 divided by 8? What's 20 divided by 8? It doesn't go in completely, does it? 2 8s are 16, but I've still got a remainder of 4. Now, I don't want to write remainder 4 here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put another 0 in, bring that 4 over. 40 divided by 8 is, yeah, it's 5. 34 or 34.00 divided by 8 becomes 4.25. When we are dividing, if we can't finish the calculation, what we can do is put in a decimal point and then add extra zeros. Now the questions that we're going to do today, P6, are going to add, in some of the questions, we're going to add a decimal point and 2 zeros. We'll not be adding anything more than 2 zeros in any of our questions. So today, depending on whether you're going to choose the higher level or the lower level task, your work will look like this. If you choose to do the higher level task, you are thinking about a daily draw that is happening, and some people are sharing out some prize money. On Monday, they were sharing out £8.55 between 3 people. So they did their working out. They took their £8.55, divided it by 3 and got £2.85 as an answer. So for part 1, you're going to be looking at the remaining 4 days in which the draw was done, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday and Friday. We're told how much there is to be won, and we're told how many winners there actually are, and we'll need to do some dividing calculations. In part 2, you're doing more dividing. Even though part E, F, G and H are set out differently, you'll still need to set them out the way you did A, B, C and D. In part 3, you're thinking about amounts of money, but these amounts of money at the minute don't have the decimal point and 2 zeros. You will need to add the decimal point and the 2 zeros to make sure you share them equally. And then in part 4, you're going to finish off with those challenge questions. That's the higher level task. If you choose to do the lower level task, then you're going to work out these questions for me. In the lower level task, I have already set out the questions for you, and I've given you the decimal points where they need to be. They're in the question, but they're also in the answer. If you're writing this out on a page, though, P6, be really careful, please, to make sure that you include those decimal points. Remember, at the end of your question, there should not be any remainders. P6, once you've had a go at your main activity, then for your extension activity, particularly for those of you who are doing the higher level task, I would like you to have a go at these 6 word problems. In our word problems today, we could be adding, subtracting, multiplying or dividing. Yesterday there was no dividing. There are some dividing questions in this today. Think about rucksack, read the question, understand it, choose which operation you're going to use. Now be careful, some of your questions today will have 2 parts. They won't all have 2 parts, but some of them will have 2 parts. So choose your operation, solve it, so do your working out, get an answer, and then if you've still got space, check it by using the inverse operation. Don't forget P6, these questions are all to do with money, which means they're all going to need to have a decimal point in your working out and probably in your answer as well. So please be really careful. Most important thing with these P6, read it carefully and choose the correct operation. Okay, that's probably the hardest bit, choosing what to do. Think before you start doing any working out. So those are your written activities for today, and once you've got that done, have a go at our Convince Me card for today. In today's Convince Me card, and you can download a larger copy of it, we're thinking about partitioning. Partitioning is also to do with taking a number and breaking it down into smaller, more manageable parts, things like thousands, hundreds, tens and units. Thinking Tom and Thinking Tanya are both thinking about the same number, 6,284. They have thought of 2 different ways in which it could be partitioned. Can you come up with any other ways to partition it? Then P6, once you've had a go at all of that, if you haven't been on to Education City yet this week, why don't you head over there to finish off your maths for today. Perhaps go and have a go at our Play Live maths games. Don't forget we've got adding, subtracting, multiplying and dividing. Why don't you have a go and see if you can get your name onto one of our leaderboards, or even onto one of the national leaderboards for this week. That would be absolutely amazing. Good luck.